Okay, we start already the topic about the beginning of agriculture. And we watch and we start already. Yes, we start already and we watch some videos. Now today I'm gonna, as an introduction, I'm gonna play a video about how the agriculture began back in history, okay? And after that, we're going to continue the PowerPoint presentation, and then I will assign you the assessment questions for you to work on those, okay? Let's begin then. Let's see. 3 minutes video, okay.
The prehistoric man lived for millions of years as a nomad. His community survived by hunting and collecting fruit and roots. That is why men lived in constant migrations in search of food. But a revolution was about to start, which would forever change this old way of life. This revolution happened with the mastery of agricultural techniques. Man learned how to sow the land and reap the fruit of his work. This new habit allowed man to gradually settle down on his piece of land, leaving his nomadic ways behind. The first villages began to emerge near the floodplains of the rivers, as these were the most fertile land. Since most places where man settled down were not adequate to grow food throughout the year, man began to give preference to the cultivation of cereals, which, besides their nutritional value, could be stored for longer periods. However, some of these cereals were often attacked by pests and rodents. During that same historical period, man developed the ability to domesticate animals as well. The dog was one of the first to be domesticated, as it would be used as a working animal, helping to safeguard communities while engaging in hunting and livestock-related activities. Some basic requirements had to be fulfilled before an animal could be considered domesticated. It could not compete with humans for food. Therefore, animals that fed on grazing or leftovers would be the ideal option. Ideally, these animals could not feel panic easily. However, if that was not possible, they would have to behave like a pack when frightened. By forming large groups, they would be more easily controlled by their owners and their herding dogs. These animals were domesticated in order to provide food for men, having also to reach their adulthood rapidly, thus increasing their productivity. Both agriculture and livestock served other purposes besides food. The animal's leather was used for several different purposes, both for clothing and the production of other items. And animals, like sheep, besides providing meat and milk, also supplied their wool. Vegetables, like flax and cotton, were also grown to serve as fabric. These small villages started to produce surpluses, trading and exchanging their products with other villages. Commerce began to slowly emerge, getting increasingly common over time. The mastery of these technologies created the basic conditions for the emergence of the first cities.
Okay guys, the end of the video now. Now let's go over the presentation. Here it is. No, this is not. Here, beginning of agriculture. I think we start already. Now let's go a little bit faster, guys. Now the beginning of the agriculture. Remember at the beginning, everybody they were gatherers. They were hunters and gatherers. Why? Because they have to move from different places in order to collect their food and try to survive. Okay. How discovered now after the Middle Stone Age came a period of time. The scientists, they call it Neolithic era.
Teacher.
The Neolithic area. Okay, or Stone Age. It began as early as 10,000 years ago in Southwest East. During the New Stone Age, people learned to polish stones to make tools like saws and drills. People also learned how to consistently make fire. The biggest change came in how people produce food. In the Neolithic era, humans developed new ways to make tools and control fire. Now plants. After a warm trend brought an end, the Ice Age, new plants began to grow in some areas. People came to depend on these wild plants for food. They began to settle where grains grew. They could plant seeds themselves to grow their own crops. Historians call the shift from food gathering to food producing Neolithic Revolution. Ellos cambiaron de ser cazadores a producir su comida. Ellos le llamaron, los historiadores le llamaron la revolución neolítica. Neolithic Revolution. Most experts believe that this revolution or change first occurs in societies of Southwest East. Eventually, people learned to change plants to make them more useful through a process called domestication. They plant only the largest grain or the sweetest fruits, what they really needed. They plant all the food that they really needed. Now, it says that it begins in what it says Southwest East. Now, this is the area, Southwest, Southwest, East, West, in this area. This area of Asia is where all the domestication and the beginning of agriculture started, okay? Now, because of this, this change brought that everybody has to gather or stay in one area. They settled down in an area, and it was a big change for society. He said the main idea, farming changed society and the way people live. Why? We'll see. Now, Neolithic area, the Neolithic era brought huge changes to people's lives. With survival, more certain people could focus on activities other than finding food. Why? Because early in those years, they were only focusing on hunting. Why? Because they need to survive. Now, because they are not focusing right now in hunting, because they have to raise crops, or they could cultivate new agriculture fruits. Now they have to focus on other things like architect or teachers or things like that. So that's why the whole society it was a change for the whole society, because other people focus on other kind of things, not only in hunting or agriculture. It means other things. Now people also began to build permanent settles, so they start making new houses. No, they used to live in caves. Now they start doing creating houses. As they started raising crops and animals, they need to stay in one place instead of continuing to travel, finding a new place. Now early economics. Now, two examples on Neolithic economics are the Katal. Now, this is the name of a city that lived back in those years at the beginning of agriculture. Now, they call it Katal, and the other place or the other city was Jericho. Katal and Jericho. In modern days in Turkey, near the Jordan River and the Dead Sea, el Mar Muerto y el Río Jordán. This decision may include which crops to plant and how they should be distributed. Now,
Teacher, Alejo no se puede meter.
Who?
Alejo.
Alejo. I don't know. Let me see.
Profe,
Let me see.
ya puede entrar, profe.
Okay, no, it's not in the waiting room. It has to be in
Profe,
the waiting room.
profe, pudo
As soon as
entrar.
I see, I let him.
Ahí pudo
Okay,
entrar.
he's here already. Alejandro is here already. Okay, now let's go back again. Let's go. Okay. Now this because these two cities, they start focus on one thing. For instance, they over here, this city, they decided to raise chickens, and the other city decided to raise fruits. Like over here, it looks like that's an example. This is an example, like apples. Okay. So this, when they exchange, I'm gonna give. Oh my God! Again. I'm gonna give you chickens, all the chickens for you, and then you in return are going to give me all the fruits to me. So they exchange. He said the barter system. They call it. That is the way they call it. Barter system. Intercambio. Barter system is a form of exchange. Intercambio where goods and service are traded. Están negociados for other goods and service. O sea, tiene servicio, tiene producto y él también se lo da, se lo ofrece a él y él lo que él no tiene los toma lo de él, se intercambian. The people who live in Jericho, for example, trade items like salt, grain granules from turquoise gem, lo intercambian ¿por qué? Por gemas de turquesas, and from the Sinai region, que venían de la región del Sinaí. Okay? Había otras ciudades allá. Now, everything, all of this brought some changes, a religion practice. As a population of towns group of people gathered to perform religious ceremonies. Now, we don't know for sure if it happens, but we haven't found a structure like this one. Like you see the picture over here? You see the picture over here? Hello?
No.
Guys, are you there? Hello?
Teacher no está compartiendo pantalla.
Excuse me?
No está compartiendo pantalla.
I can hear you.
No está compartiendo.
No está compartido. Okay. Okay, over here. Okay, I think we left, the last one was this one, I think. Uy, sorry. Okay, over here, we were talking about the barter system, that they exchange things. They raise chickens, and the other one raise fruits, and they exchange. Ellos intercambian, okay? Now all these changes brought that people focus on other things besides those that I mentioned. So they also think the scientists or the historian thinks that they focus on religious. Some put on megaliths. Megaliths are this picture that you see over here. Looks like stones. They think that it was for religious purpose, but they don't know for some, maybe in order to adore the weather or the sky or the moon, things like that. Okay, megaliths. This place is in England, I think. Okay, megaliths are used as a monument or at the site of religious gathering. Okay. Now some argue that it was a megalith that served as a monument to death. They think it was un monumento que se lo dedicaba a los muertos, a todos los que era como un cementerio, okay? While others claim that served religious purpose, otros pensaban que era solamente para cosas religiosas, okay? Now, hold on, okay. Now, early people probably believed in gods and goddesses associated with the four elements. Ellos pensaban que entonces ellos le rendían culto a los elementos de la tierra, que era el aire, water, fire, and earth. que es el aire, el agua, el fuego y la tierra. Or with animals, o también ciertos animales. For example, an early Europe group honor a thunder gods, el dios del trueno, thunder gods, while another group worship bulls. Otros adoraban a los toros. Okay. Many communities and religions have practice and structures that guides what happened when persons die. Okay. Now, cuando la persona moría, ellos la ubicaban en ciertas áreas. Now, ellos aquí un ejemplo dice los catal, dice, for example, the flesh was removed, the flesh. Imagínense, ellos le quitaban la piel al cuerpo, le quitaban la piel, a los muertos le quitaban la piel. The flesh was removed from the body, and the bones were bleached. Y los huesos eran secados y se les enterraban. Imagínense. ¿Y a dónde los enterraban? En su misma casa, en la misma casa, dicen, en los pisos de sus casas. ¿Para qué? Para que permanezcan con ellos mismos. Así que imagínense, eso era en aquel entonces, chicos. Now, también hubo cambio en cuanto al gobierno, dice. Changes about the government and society order. It says, remains of society can sometimes give clues about the government and other social structure. Now, the scientists, they found this structure. There's a picture over here. You see this picture? Now, this is a structure back from those years, 1,000 years ago. Now, it belongs to Jericho, it says, as an evidence of evidence of government. Now, they said that it was a very huge structure, this Jericho. So that gave us the idea that they were well organized as a government. A large wall surrounded the city. Construction like a wall requires many people like a government. So because these were walls over here, you see these were walls, they were surrounding the city. In this occasion, the name of the city was Jericho. Okay. This is basically the beginning of agriculture that brought different changes in the society. Okay, guys. Now, your assignments. We have how many minutes? 5 minutes left. Okay. Now your assignments. Let me get the book over here. Now, remember, you need to write the name of the lesson that we just finished. That is the beginning of agriculture. So in your notebook, write beginning of agriculture with today's date. Now, that's on page 55. Page 55. Page 55. Page 55, there is a vocabulary, Neolithic era, domestication, agriculture, and megaliths. Okay, those are the vocabulary. Now it's on page 58, 58. Page 58, there is the assessment. Now the questions for the assessment is number 1, letter A and B. Number 2, letter A and B, and organize on number 3. Okay? I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna repeat it, okay? On page 58, the assessment questions for next class is number 1, letter A and B. Number 2, letter A and B. And number 3, that's it. That's only, it says copy the graphic organizer at right, use it, shows a cause and 3 effects of developing of agriculture. That's a very easy question, okay? Do we have any question, guys? So this assessment, we're going to discuss this next class, and we're gonna see a video about these megaliths that is in England, okay? Any question, guys? Any question? Now remember, there are some of you who hasn't sent me your assignment. For instance, Isabel Rodriguez, I haven't received your assignment, please. I need